2024 was an amazing year for the horror genre, with loads of amazing original horror, and some fun sequels and reboots in there as well. And today I'm going to be going over all the horror movies I've watched this year, going from my least favourite to my favourite. Also, quick disclaimer, I can't watch Nosferatu till January, which is kind of annoying, because that's probably around the time I'm going to be uploading this video. Because for some reason they decided to release it later here in the UK, so I'll probably have a review out for that then. And if not, then I'll discuss it in a live stream at a later point, so without further ado, let's get into this. At the bottom of the list, I have Terror. This film is god-awful. It's your typical crappy horror movie. There's nothing fun about it, and even in the scenes where you think it might get good, it just doesn't. And continues to be so painfully mediocre. The film follows a group of friends who unleash unspeakable evil upon themselves by playing some tarot cards. And, yeah, you know, I've really had some hope for this, considering how I saw a few good reviews in there between all the hate. And, it just didn't work. Next up, I have The Mousetrap, which is jumping on the public domain horror train, which was started by Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the sequel to which is coming up soon in this video. And like how that movie was announced quickly after, the rights were up, they wasted no time with this movie, because it literally was announced to be damn gay. But how's the movie? Well, it sucks. The CGI is painfully bad, with Mickey Mouse having teleporting powers, and the main character, who, spoilers, dies at the end. It makes really no sense, and it even sets up a sequel which is already being worked on, but I kind of hope that's a bit better than this, because this is genuinely one of the worst films I've watched in my life. Founders Day is a really bad slasher movie. It's similar to Thanksgiving in almost every way, but it's more political, and it just sucks. There's nothing interesting about it, there's some cool kills, but besides from that, it's just so meh. Night Swim is your typical January release. It's so painfully mediocre, the film had potential. I mean, the Haunted Pool, at least the original. But as usual, it falls so flat, with them focusing more on baseball than the freaking pool. I mean, at this point, you call the movie Nightball or something, and add some subplot about a pool, rather than just being a movie about the pool, where the pool wasn't even the main focus of the movie. The Strangers Chapter 1 is a reboot/remake of the original Strangers movie, and is set to start a new trilogy of Strangers films. And is it a good start to this new era of Strangers? Hell no. The film's acting is dreadful, and the direction is all over the place. And I ain't even mentioned the writing yet, which genuinely pains me. They fall over like 7 times, had 9 chances to escape, and have no idea how asthma works. And everyone's least favourite, nerdy asthmatic guy here, let me demonstrate for you. You take the inhaler, you see, I actually kind of need this right now because I'm out of breath. Take the inhaler, you shake it, you put it in your mouth. You wait a few seconds, then you breathe out. You don't literally just spray it into your mouth, and like you can literally see all the steroids and stuff leaving his mouth rather than being inhaled like you're supposed to do. It's really annoying for me because it just pains me every time I'm watching it. Like I can't do it. Arcadian is a monster survival movie starring my favourite actor who has his own section in my physical media collection, and the film is fairly decent, but at the same time it's really slow and very boring at times. Nick Cage is awesome though, never doubt that man, he always delivers. Servants is a movie about a guy cheating on his wife with a robot, and no, it's not a joke. Pretty much this guy's wife is in the hospital, which makes it even worse. So he gets a robot to help around the house, but plot twist, she's smoking hot, so he falls for her, but after, he has sex with her, he then rejects her for his wife, because, she's his wife, and she then goes haywire and tries to murder them. As the film, though, it's kind of mid, it's not really very good. Time Cut is a 2024 movie which was made years ago, and it's pretty much totally killer, but Netflix. The mask even looks pretty similar, but funnily enough, this movie was made before that, so I don't know why it took so long to get out, but the film itself is kind of meh. Salem's Lot is a reboot/remake of the original Stephen King novel, which has been in development hell for years. Hell, yeah, vampires. Oh, brother, this guy stinks! It's it's just so weird. Like, was it worth the wait? I mean, it's really not bad, but the movie, it has some cool shots. The vampires are cool enough, but so many scenes drag on while others feel rushed. It just shoots through that story, but also is really long and it doesn't feel right. And it just feels like a discombobulated mess. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is the sequel and technically reboot to the first movie, with it following Christopher Robin as he returns to the town attempting to deal with the trauma he endured from the first movie. Meanwhile, Pooh, Piglet, along with some new friends, are back on the hunt and they now want to come out of the shadows because Christopher Robin has now exposed them to everyone. Now, is this film an 1000% upgrade from the original? Hell yes. Is it a good movie though? Well, I'm conflicted on that point, as some aspects fall flat for me. I'll start with the positives though. The design's so much better. It's not just a mask they bought offline, it's actual prosthetics and it looks really good. Now, this is where it kind of gets a bit weird for me. The acting's good as well, but at times it feels like they tried so hard to improve over the first movie that they go a bit overkill. The film goes a bit too fast, and even though it doesn't take itself as seriously as the first one, it still tries to make itself like a serious movie, and that's where it kind of falls flat for me. Lisa Frankenstein is a really fun and trippy horror movie starring Catherine Newton. It's really goofy as well and has some great humour. It does feel flat in some aspects, but it's similar to another film with Catherine Newton called Freaky, but it's a bunch of fun and I'll definitely be adding it to my collection. Maxine is the third and final entry in the X trilogy and sadly is a downgrade from the last two. Now don't get me wrong, much like the last two films on this list, this film isn't bad. I just didn't enjoy it as much as the first two. Now, I know some people will disagree with me. I can tell my boy Mr. Hot Take is already typing out a whole damn book in the comments. But I could kind of see where they were going with the movie, like halfway through it. And for a star-studded cast, it did feel kind of wasted. Next up, I got Black Cab, which is only this high because the film was beautifully shot and because I love Nick Frost. I love Shaun the Dead, piss off. But the rest of the movie is kind of meh, and the ending is probably the biggest, what the hell just happened here moment I have besides with the substance. In a Violent Nature is a weird movie. And, it's not like I didn't expect it. It was kind of boring. I was expecting it though, because, I interviewed the actor for the killer in the movie, Rod Barrett, who was a really nice guy. And he pretty much told me, people will be split with this movie, it's going to be kind of 50-50. Some people love it, some people will hate it. I'm somewhere in the middle. It's not like I wasn't prepared for an experimental movie, but where there's some awesome and gory kills, there's also 50 minutes of a bloke walking through the woods, which sadly just didn't really interest me. I really hope the sequel is better, because I'm really excited for it, but if it's just more of the same, I'm kind of out. Scream is another movie from the producers of Terrifier, the same people who made the Mean one, which I watched recently, and it was kind of meh. The movie, I kind of prefer it over the Mean one, though. It's slightly better, and it's got a stellar cast, and it brings back the legendary Tim Curry. But the movie itself is kind of cringy and a bit slow. It's got some great kills, though. Trap is the latest release from M. Night Shyamalan, and it brings back Josh Hartnett as the serial killer, the Butcher, who goes to a concert with his daughter, but it turns out to be a trap. And the movie is a load of fun, however it does have its problems, as it doesn't specifically have a twist, which, isn't a problem, because M. Night Shyamalan's twists currently have been his major problem. But it does shift main characters halfway through, and that sadly doesn't work for me. This whole film kind of felt like an ad for his daughter's singing career, which, good on him, I'd probably do the same. Speak No Evil is an English remake of a Dutch horror thriller. Now, this is one of those movies where I was like, why the hell does this need a remake? The original was really good and really disturbing, and I didn't really want to ever watch something like it again. But then I heard James McAvoy was attached, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm 100% on board. It even apparently has a different ending, so I'm definitely going to watch it. I watched it, and I'm like, okay, that was awesome. I definitely understand why. Now, I'm glad this wasn't as, unnecessary as some other Blumhouse movies. It's probably one of the best Blumhouse movies we've gotten in a while, and I would definitely take that. You'll Never Find Me is a really interesting and disturbing movie. It's an Australian film about a woman who enters a man's home during a storm, and it is absolutely bonkers with an insane ending. And I'm not going to go too into spoilers because I do really recommend it, but I do have a whole other video talking about it if you're interested. Alien Romulus is a prequel, which I'm going to trademark, by the way, that is now my term. A la Saw X, where it's a sequel to one movie, but also a prequel to another, and this one takes place between Aliens and Alien. It's a sequel to Alien, but it's a prequel to aliens, and it's really good. It's probably one of the best alien movies we've gotten in so long, and yes, that is shade towards Prometheus. Abigail is a vampire movie starring Melissa Barrera made by Radio Silence. The film is really good, and has a lot of great gore, and is really fun, but why the hell did you put the twist in the trailer? It's really painful, especially when they spend the first half of the movie like, it's just a normal girl, there's nothing weird going on here, it's all good, guys. And then, all the vampiric stuff happens, and then I was like, why put that in the trailer? But yeah, the movie is sick. Mr. Crockett is a movie that was recommended to be by my buddy Mr. Hot Take. Second shout out to him, go check him out. And it is a genuinely great horror movie, and I haven't seen too many people talk about it. The movie is kind of similar to Banana Splits mixed with Candyman, and the main actor for Mr. Crockett, Elvis Nolasco, was great in the role. It's got a really eerie vibe to the movie, and it's really cool. I'm not going to go too far into it because I do really recommend the movie. Go check it out. On Hulu, on Disney Plus I think here. Go check it out. VHS Beyond is a really fun movie. It's a new entry in a now long-running VHS series, and this entry is way more sci-fi inspired with a load of cool segments, which once again I won't spoil because you need to watch it. I definitely do like it over the first 3 VHS movies, which are way too crazy for me. Like, they are not my favourite movies, especially with some of the subject matter in them, which I don't even want to talk about. But, I mean, I will probably review them at some point, and when I rank these movies, all the new ones are going to be on top. Now, on to the top 5 movies of the year, the creme de la creme, the movies which I thought really stood out among the others, and were just a fun time. Beginning it with number 5, Destroy Your Neighbours. It's a really fun horror comedy that released in January of this year. The movie was a massive shock for me, as January releases are really not the best, but I really recommend this movie. It's a blast. The best way I can describe it is a trippy, prog rock-filled gore fest with a load of great jokes and characters. I even got to interview the writer of the movie, Charles Piper, who was an all-around great dude, and although I might be a bit biased due to the, I think this movie is still freaking awesome, and I really recommend it. A Quiet Place Day 1 is an amazing prequel to the A Quiet Place franchise. It's set in New York, and it is a load of fun, and it even had me tearing up at one point near the end. Like, I genuinely didn't expect this movie to, touch me like that, but it was just really, really good. And I didn't expect to like it either, because I'm not really the biggest fan of the first 2, but I really enjoyed this and was pleasantly surprised. I do really recommend watching this, as it is a fun movie. It's great, it's got some great sound design, the acting is stellar from Lupita Nyong'o, and Joseph Quinn was really good in it as well, I must say, He's turning out to be a really good actor, and I'm looking forward to the other stuff that he's in. Terrifier 3 is the latest installment in the Terrifier franchise, and it's probably the best so far. With it being set on Christmas and Art the Clown going on another bloody and gore-filled rampage, I love the way that Art is so excited in this movie, and Sienna is turning out to be one of my favourite final girls. Her actress has definitely improved her acting as well. She's done great work in this movie. I'm really looking forward to what she does next. And yeah, moving on to the next one. Longlegs is one of my favourite movies of the year. It's got Nick goddamn Cage as a serial killer. It's also got Micah Monroe in it. The plot as well is one of my favourites in the year. The acting in the movie is incredible, and so is the editing, which I really love. Especially the intro, where it goes from like a VHS style, to a regular screen format. It was really, really cool. The jump scares aren't overdone. There are a few in the movie, but it's not really too much where, if you're prone to be scared of jump scares, they'll get you like that. I mean, one definitely got me, which I'm not going to spoil where it is, but it was really unexpected, and it surprisingly got me, because I'm usually, jump scares usually don't get me like that. And it was actually really cool. I gotta say, this movie probably had the best marketing, in years that I've ever seen. Scariest movie of the year. The scariest movie you'll see. Go watch Longlegs, guys. And then, all the phone calls, all the creepy stuff that they put out. I was, really hyped for this movie, and it delivered. Now on to my number 1 favourite movie of the year, which is The Substance. This movie is phenomenal. It's the second movie I've seen from Coralie Fargette. Apologies if I said her name wrong, I am terrible with names. It's an insane body horror movie with a great message. Demi Moore gives a career-worthy performance along with Margaret Qualley, and this movie also has some of the best dark humour I've seen this year. Also, you're going to tell me, in a movie with some of the best body horror and practical gore I've seen in ages, the most disturbing part of this movie was a close-up of Dennis Quaid eating shrimp. I mean, that definitely sells it for me. And yeah, that's my ranking this year. It was really off to a rough start at the beginning of the year, but it really picked up in the halfway point with loads of amazing movies being released. I do want to say, if you guys enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it really does help me out. Let me know your top films of the year in the comments below, and until next time, have a great new year, and keep your lights on and your doors locked, and I'll see you all next time.